Hello, everybody. I'm Skip Alzheimer, and welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, direct from the AV Geeks 16mm library. We came back yesterday, and have been slowly migrating from my basement back to the archive proper, which means that there's a bunch of 16mm films here that we can be pulling from, and I don't have to make special trips after hours to the archive. Also, thankfully, the telecine is up and running, so we'll be watching some films transferred live from 16. Plus, we have scores and scores, thousands of films, actually, that we have digitized over the years, the last 10 or so years, that we can be pulling from. And we've only seen, what was it? What's the number so far? Here I am looking up a spreadsheet while you're watching me look up a spreadsheet. We've watched 1,521 films. So there you go. That last film was Antlion, which was a silent film from the Oregon Archive, and they got it ultimately from Mogul Brothers, which was a camera store, I believe, in New York City. And they had an extensive 16mm library that you could rent films from. And then they got the films from a variety of different places. But there's a lot of stuff from the late 20s, early 30s. That Antlion was kind of an educational film, but really more of a animal curiosity film. A little bit of science there, but really just a lot of interesting photography. This next film is actually from North Carolina. This is from the North Carolina Wildlife Program. So enjoy.
Who today can look over a sound or marsh and not thrill to the beauty of wildlife that wings its way across the skies? And whose heart doesn't skip a beat when he sees the inhabitants in their pursuit of living? Some folks think the fields and woods are lonesome places and are afraid of the things they cannot see or understand. The vibrant pulse of life is everywhere in every form. Sometimes we are asked to put a value on our wildlife. Now, of what value is a flock of wild mallards? Perhaps we cannot judge them by weight alone or by volume, for each has a separate life system not always based on man's evaluation. We might as well talk of the value of a sunset or of the freshness of the air. Yet we must realize that in the endless cycle of life, each is but a minute part, and that each is a link in the chain that binds together all living things on the earth. Each is dependent on the other to provide nourishment or protection and maintain the continuity of life for the next in line. With such interdependency, individuals are expendable, but as a species, essential. The predator and his prey are each a part of the food cycle. Being held responsible as custodian of these vast and varied forms of life, man has a role that must be one of understanding. He is a protector and guardian, for what happens ultimately affects him. If the tadpole or the dragonfly or the water bug cannot survive in the water, can it be fit for man to drink? These small creatures are the indicators, the foundations upon which man's life is fashioned and its quality determined. It's as a great philosopher of our time reminds us, crush a flower, and somewhere a star trembles. The richness of the soil and the cleanness of the air determine their quality. Man is part of the system, benefiting from all. His food is from the deep fertility of the earth, from the fish and the fowl. Animals cannot survive unless the air, water, and earth or kept hospitable. But we have not always understood these interrelationships. All who saw the beauty of the land also saw a cloud on the horizon. By the early 1900s, the wildlife seemed to disappear. The birds and the fish were being slaughtered. It was the U.S. Army and the commercial hunter who had destroyed the buffalo in order to subdue the Indian. It was the market hunters who profited from the ducks and geese and other waterfowl, and who sold the passenger pigeons by the barrel. Such destruction was seen and halted, but still, something was wrong. Man somewhere along the way began to mistake uncontrolled growth for progress. Strip mines laid waste to the land, and pollution of all kinds drained into our streams. Abandoned junk began to litter the roadsides and invade the rivers. Detergents and waste fouled our water. Drag lines channelized and drained our rivers and swamps. Air pollution turned fertile soils into deserts, and smog filled the air. Wildlife, the barometer of our own life, succumbed. Something was terribly wrong. Could man survive if wildlife could not? Yet we had an insatiable demand for more power, so we built more dams. We continue to tear up the land and through overharvest make the forest bare dead places. We were following false goals. Was this to be the end of wildlife? We were failing to leave any seed for tomorrow. It was in 1945 that concerned and angry hunters and fishermen confronted the North Carolina General Assembly, demanding reforms and a voice in future decisions. The United Sportsmen were successful, banding together the divergent groups throughout the state under strong, aggressive leadership to form the North Carolina Wildlife Federation. Memberships have grown from a few hundred individuals until today its members number in excess of 20,000. It has added its strength to that of the largest conservation organization in the world, the National Wildlife Federation, which boasts a membership of more than 2.5 million, including the support of many who do not even hunt or fish. Individual clubs and organizations, aware of the increased pressure on our natural resources, united, with each club electing a representative as a spokesman. Each representative has a vote in selecting a director from his district, who sits on the Federation Board of Directors without pay, volunteering his services. A four-man executive board directs the efforts of the executive vice president. He in turn keeps legislative and political leaders aware of the sportsman, the conservationist, the nature lover, and through the publication Friend of Wildlife, keeps the membership informed of what is happening in the political world and to the environmental quality of this and other states. Every year, the North Carolina Wildlife Federation invites outstanding international leaders, such as the former Secretary of the Interior, Stuart Udall, to meet and confer, exchanging ideas and information. Widely recognized as a conservation leader was the late Turner Battle, the single most cohesive force in the Federation's long history. During its annual convention, conservation scholarships are awarded to outstanding youth, but one phase of the Federation's many educational activities, which also include the McLamrock Lecture Program and the INSCO Film Library. Environmental achievement is recognized in various fields ranging from 4-H, Boy Scouts, FFA, wildlife protection, education, communications, to water, air, land, and forestry conservation. The climax of the awards program is the Governor's Award to the Conservationist of the Year, presented to the citizen most outstanding in the cause of conservation. This is an important opportunity for the sportsmen, who are the backbone of conservation in North Carolina and the whole United States, to meet and carry forward urgent matters of the environment. The North Carolina Wildlife Federation is dedicated to making the state a better place in which to live and is making some progress. Through its active membership, it has provided the incentive and leadership on dozens of major issues. Not only being credited with such outstanding separate legislative acts, as the creation of the Wildlife Resources Commission, control of the misuse of pesticides, the formation of the Board of Water and Air Resources, now the Office of Environmental Management, the protection of endangered species, the establishment of national parks and national wildlife refuges, the opening of new land for public hunting, recognizing the rights of landowners and sportsmen, besides contributing to and participating in national conservation programs. Today, the North Carolina Wildlife Federation is setting the example for the nation in protecting the streams and rivers from destructive excesses in channelization. Today, whether there are bass fishermen, target shooters, hunters of the deer or the turkey, or watchers of birds, by working together, members of the North Carolina Wildlife Federation are taking the lead in keeping North Carolina a decent place to live, be it resident birds and animals or resident people. As Henry Thoreau said several generations ago, what's the use of a house if you don't have a decent planet to put it on? Thou shalt inherit the holy earth as a faithful steward, conserving its resources and productivity from generation to generation. Thou shalt safeguard thy fields from soil erosion, thy living waters from drying up, thy forests from desolation, and protect thy hills from overgrazing by the herds, that thy descendants may have abundance forever. If any shall fail in this stewardship of the land, thy fruitful field shall become sterile stony ground or wasting gullies, and thy descendants shall decrease and live in poverty or perish from off the face of the earth.
So they mentioned a film library, but I don't know where it ended up. I got that actually from the North Carolina Wildlife Foundation. They basically cleaned out a closet and they're like, we're going to throw this out. Do you want these? I was like, sure. So, yeah, I don't know. All right. There are choices. There are choices. And this insurance company is going to tell us about them.
This is for you, Grandma.
Across our country, we as drivers are killing and being killed at a rate as high as 50,000 a year. Not to mention another 2 million who are injured and crippled. Hi, I'm Pat Summerall. I recently visited with some safety professionals who are very concerned about this epidemic-sized problem, and they and a growing number of people feel the time is long overdue, that we, you and I, must no longer accept as fate this senseless slaughter on our streets and highways. Yet when these people began to talk to me about driving fatalities, I thought to myself, this problem is so big and so overwhelming, what can one person do to help? But as they talked, their ideas began to make sense to me. And I'd like to share some of those ideas with you. Let's begin our search for the cause of driving accidents as we are riding with Patrolman Joe Gordon of the Georgia State Patrol.
One thing that most people overlook and never even take into consideration as a bad factor to be involved in if you're going to operate a vehicle, and that's your emotional state. When you're upset emotionally, you're angry or you're very disappointed or upset, you are not utilizing your concentration on anything but that problem. You're driving the vehicle probably by instinct, which at times that can be fine, but when that unexpected crisis throws up in the road ahead of you, you're not going to be able to react, no matter what your intentions are. Many times we get to accident scenes, tragic accident scenes, and we find the drivers are terribly upset, not only from the accident and the damage that it did, but from a problem that they were trying to deal with while they were driving the vehicle. And in many times, the accident was a simple little mistake that made a chain reaction begin that could have been avoided if they had simply had their mind on what they were doing.
Officer Gordon is speaking from his years of experience when he describes how our emotions distract us from our driving, and we make costly mistakes. He's not alone in this thinking. A study by the Menninger Foundation of accident cases brought into a hospital showed that 90% of those people causing the accident were experiencing some form of frustration, disappointment, or other such emotions just before their accident. Now, does that mean that people having accidents are all emotional misfits? No, not at all. But knowing how our emotions affect our behavior will help us understand why normal, intelligent, well-intended people have accidents. Now, let's watch some case studies, reenactments of driving accidents and the people involved. Hopefully, we'll see what really causes the accidents. And as we're watching the people in these stories, we should look within ourselves as well. Let's start with the accident that we saw earlier at the street corner. And we'll see that it actually began several miles away.
Bob's Plumbing. Oh, yes, Mrs. Thomas. So you did get the water cut off. Great. No, that's impossible. Really, I have a rush job that's ahead of you, and... Yes, ma'am. Okay, but how about 2 hours? Okay? Now, don't panic, Miss Thomas. Okay. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye now. Another rush job, Harry.
This business, what other kind is there?
Well, I may not be back for a while, so if I'll tell you what, just take a message and tell them we'll handle it, okay? Just tell them we'll handle it, but it'll be late this afternoon.
Okay.
Gotta go.
I'll take care of it.
What is it, Susan?
We've come up with a great idea. We want to rewrite some of the dialogue in our play.
Yeah.
You mean you want to rewrite some of the dialogue in Macbeth?
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea. I tell you what, tomorrow, you bring that before the class, and we'll see how they react.
Every corner is a red light. Either one way or a red light. Man, I haven't seen so many red lights in my life. Gotta get that light.
After the smoke and the dust have settled, after the ambulance and the police have left, a question will remain. A question will be etched for a lifetime in the minds of all of those people involved. Why? Why did it happen? We saw in those last few seconds how Bob chose to risk running a red light. You see, he made that choice while his emotions had overthrown his normal good judgment. And who among us hasn't left late for an appointment and then, just like Bob, tried to make up time driving? But there are ways to protect ourselves from this kind of behavior. So let's back up. Let's rewind Bob's story and rewrite only one thing.
ticket, and I'm certainly not going to get killed for Mrs. Thomas's sink. Can't get hold of myself. I just get too rushed sometimes. It just isn't worth it.
You saw what we rewrote. We simply gave Bob the ability to see himself. In that moment, he saw how his impatience was going to get him in trouble. But this time, Bob's attitude protected him. You see, a positive attitude about ourselves and an understanding of all the things we have going for us in life that could be lost is our best defense to protect us from taking senseless risks. This thing about attitude is a very key factor in becoming a safer driver. We all, hopefully, start the day with a positive attitude. But sometimes our attitude can be very fragile and easily bent out of shape.
Frank, I thought you'd start vacation today.
That's not till tomorrow.
Hey, have a good time.
Sure will, thank you.
Hi. Say, Frank and I are going on vacation tomorrow. Yeah, we are. And I was wondering if you could take in our mail.
Frank, are you still here? I promised this load of gas 30 minutes ago.
I got here early.
I don't want to hear that. I need to deliver it.
I got here early,
We need to
Bill.
go. When I ordered, I got to deliver it.
The truck
man.
was broke down.
We got to deliver it.
Okay,
Don't want to hear it. Deliver it.
Right. Oh, I think it'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's just a heck of a way to start a vacation. I don't understand it. I don't understand Bill. He... Friends don't talk to friends like he talked to me. It's just, it shouldn't be done, and I'm just not gonna have it. I just don't understand me getting jumped on. They work on time. The truck's broke down. I can't help it if the truck's broke down. I just don't understand the situation. I'm gonna have to work late, at least 2 hours late. All of my customers are mad at me, just raising all kind of cane. I think when I get back, Bill's gonna get a piece of my mind. All I need. All I need. Last day of work before I go on vacation.
Frank left early this morning in hopes that he could get home, you know, at a good hour this afternoon so that we can finish packing.
This well-marked two-track crossing was on Frank's regular route. For 7 years, he had crossed it. Now his wife and children are crying out, why? Why did it happen? What went wrong? Well, Frank's tragic story gives us another chance to learn how our emotions, in this case anger, affect our behavior. In fact, anger can totally blind us to risks. Risks we normally would consider childish or even stupid. Is there another choice Frank could have made that morning? Well, let's rewind his story and see how he might have used his confident, positive attitude to protect himself.
Frank, are you still here? I promised this load of gas 30 minutes ago.
I got here early.
I don't want to hear that. I need to deliver it.
I got here
we
early,
need to
Bill.
go. When I ordered, I got to deliver it.
The truck
man.
was broke down.
We got to deliver it. We promised it. We got to deliver it. Get it out.
Bill, wait a minute. We got to talk this out. I don't know what's gotten into you. I've never seen you like this. I can't go out on my route with us at each other's throat. What's the matter?
Oh, it isn't your fault. I got 3 stations out. I got 2 drivers sick. The phone's ringing off the hook. These people wanting gas. It's not your fault. Go and deliver that load. We'll talk about it when you get back.
Okay.
Frank's approach to his problem certainly worked for him, and it was a good approach. Some solutions may not be quite so simple. The message for each of us, though, is that we need to be aware of the stress and the emotions we are feeling and take steps, like Frank did, that will get our emotions under control and our attitude back on course. Do you see where these stories are leading us? Well, their point is that we must take deliberate actions if we are to become safer drivers. Now, I didn't accuse you of being a poor driver, not at all. But we can all work to become safer drivers. For example, another reminder for all of us comes from a man named Carl.
Here's the paperwork for that order, Carl.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Let's see, where should I go first? I got the construction site on the south side. I need to get that subdivision over by the river, too.
And what is this pajama party you're talking about? Whose house is that?
Tammy's. Please, Mama.
For tonight?
Yes.
Ooh, I don't know, Bee. This is a weeknight.
Please, Mama.
I don't know. You'd be up awfully late.
You said yesterday, maybe.
I said maybe.
This is a mess. This is a mess. I gotta get this straight.
So when your father gets home tonight, we'll talk with him about it.
Mama, I'll clean up my room if you talk to Daddy.
Well, in that case, I might talk to him double hard, okay?
Okay.
We'll discuss it with him, and then you can call your friend and tell her, okay?
Okay.
God, I wish I'd organized these before I left the yard.
Well, I'm sure Tammy will understand if you have to make it some other time, okay?
The tragedy of this accident and thousands of others every year is that people suddenly become innocent victims. In an instant, plans and dreams are shattered and lives are permanently changed. Like Carl sorting through his deliveries, who among us hasn't at some time been driving while looking at a map, taking notes, or searching through the glove compartment? Well, these are all outward signs that our attitude about safety is getting weak. If only Carl had made another decision that morning, what a difference it would make in his story.
Carl, you know better than this. You cannot do two things at one time. Now, you're a professional driver. Pull this truck over and get your deliveries in order.
This next story we have saved for the end. Not because it's the least of our driving problems, but because it represents the biggest driving problem we face today.
Just a minute. Carolyn, that's for you. It's Paul.
Okay. Hi. Fine, how are you? Well, I've got some good news for you, too. I got the promotion. Yeah. It came through today. They gave me everything. Uh-huh. They want me to start as soon as possible. Yeah. Thank you. Well, some of the people in the office want to go out and help me celebrate my promotion after work. So I'll call you when I get home. Yeah, okay. Great. Me too. Bye-bye. Okay. Your promotion. Thank you, and to good friends. I still don't really feel promoted.
When you get that name on the door, you will.
No, when I get that check in the mail. Yeah, that will be. That will be. I enjoy it. I know. You play golf. They haven't been out of the Oh, that's good. Right. Oh, really? Oh, I think I've had enough. Gosh, I didn't realize how much I'd had. I'm glad the people that gave me the promotion didn't see me spill that wine. How embarrassing. could I be so stupid to drink that much? Oh, I've got so much work to do tomorrow.
The effect of alcohol on our driving is treacherous. After a drink, our minds begin telling us, I'm doing just great. It seduces us into thinking that our judgment has never been better, when of course what's happening is just exactly the opposite. In fact, nearly 1/2 of all the traffic deaths are the result of people being convinced that they had everything under control. They were feeling good. Well, of course they were. The alcohol convinced them of it. You know, we may still laugh at the comedians on television as they're playing the part of a drunk, but our society has stopped laughing at drivers who are under the influence of alcohol. Now, even social drinkers, not just the drunks, who drive under the influence are often finding tough criminal penalties hanging over their lives. Let's look back on Carolyn's celebration and hope that she understands that she can make other choices.
Well, some of the people in the office want to go out and help me celebrate my promotion after work. So I'll call you when I get home. Yeah, okay. Great. Me too. Bye-bye.
Carol, you haven't had anything to drink.
No, thanks.
Are you sure?
Well, I'm driving. I've got to go home and call Paul. I've got a lot to do.
Oh, but we need a toast.
Okay. To good friends.
Yes. And promotions.
And promotions.
So what have we learned? Well, I think the best lesson comes from the people in this program when we saw them the second time after we rewound their stories. What we saw was that they each had a better, more positive attitude, an awareness and an understanding of all the things of lasting value in their lives. And this positive attitude protected them from taking those senseless risks. You know, our attitudes about driving, like our habits, are not easily changed. For example, every one of us probably thinks we're pretty darn good drivers. Yet, who among us hasn't in one way or another made mistakes similar to those made by Bob, Frank, Carl, and Carolyn? But every one of us can become a safer driver if we choose to. After all, we each write our own story. We begin by making a commitment to ourselves to make safety a deliberate part of our driving. In fact, we can make our attitude about safety as important in our lives as those values like families and friendships. For me, when I slip behind the wheel, my seatbelt is a good reminder of my attitude, my state of mind. For example, if I begin to tell myself, Pat, you don't have time to put on that seatbelt, just keep on going, I know that that's a warning that I'm probably under too much stress to be driving safely. Or imagine if a person is too angry to put on their seatbelt. Well, that tells us a great deal too, doesn't it? There's another good habit I've learned. After I check the lights and the gauges and find that the vehicle is ready to drive, I then ask myself, am I ready to drive?
Thank you, Pat Summerall, for that wonderful film. I'm a big fan of the let's watch a accident and then come up with a narrative that leads up to the accident. I have several films that do that, and so even some of those really gory highway safety films, they started off by filming these actual accidents, and then they filled in kind of a backstory of what they think happened, or they kind of create a fictional kind of recreation that led up to the horrible accident. And I think that's something that shocked people too. I mean, for a lot of high school students, that was the first time they saw a dead body, was a mangled body too, in some of these highway safety films. I'm probably not going to show them on here because we got some young eyes. Plus, some of you are eating lunch, and it's just not, it doesn't work. Yeah, that was a really great, I love it. And it's from the mid-'80s as well, so it has all those cars and everything. But there's a lot of stress there, a lot of people stressed out at each other driving. And so this next film, which I have on the telecine, set up on our good friend, the German telecine, is a film I haven't seen before. So but it's called Progressive Relaxation Training. So I just pulled it off a stack, went to the back, pulled it off a stack. So let's see what happens. All right, enjoy.
Okay, Steve, I'm going to ask you now to focus your attention on your right hand. And by making a tight fist, I want you to tense the muscles in the right hand and the lower arm now. Feel the tension. Notice where it pulls when you hold it tight. Now relax. That's right. Let it go all at once. Focus your attention on the feeling of relaxation in the right hand and the lower arm.
This polygraph provides a graphic illustration of different levels of tension and relaxation in muscles. Often people in the helping professions encounter clients whose main complaint is an inability to control the level of tension in their bodies. They complain of tight nerves, insomnia, tension headaches, or a general inability to relax. Frequently, these difficulties are the result of muscular tension and the physiological arousal that it creates. One way that clients can learn to deal with these problems is through progressive relaxation training, a systematic procedure which involves learning to relax through sequentially tensing and then relaxing various muscle groups while focusing attention on the sensations involved. The therapist first instructs the client to tense a particular muscle group and then, on cue, to relax. While the client is releasing the muscles, the therapist makes suggestions designed to help focus attention on the relaxation process as it occurs. By first creating muscular tension and then releasing it, a momentum is created that allows the muscle fibers to loosen up and become more completely relaxed. But more importantly, the client learns to discriminate between feelings of tension and those of deep relaxation. By eventually learning to identify even mild levels of tension, the client is able to maintain muscular relaxation and a lower level of physiological arousal in day-to-day life. In the early stages of relaxation training, 16 muscular groups are sequentially tensed and relaxed, beginning with 2 groups each in the arms, 3 groups in the head and face, 3 groups in the neck and trunk, and 3 groups in each of the legs.
Steve, you may be wondering why I would be asking you to tense your muscles
If the object of your learning to do this is to relax and control the tension in your body, we do that because of the fact that we have adapted to levels of tension throughout our muscle systems, and we're not even aware of that. So in order to increase your awareness of what tension really feels like, I ask you to tense these muscles and then to relax them all at once. And that way you'll be able to discriminate and know the difference between the feeling of tension and a feeling of relaxation in the muscles. And you can do this in everyday situations to identify where you are tense in your body. And also
During the first session, the therapist explains the techniques. At this time, it is important that the client understand both the objectives of relaxation training and the procedures which are involved in the technique.
Learning to relax is like learning any other skill. The more you practice it, the better you are at it. So I will be asking you to practice this regularly in between our sessions. But let me go ahead and give you a little more idea about just what we'll be doing this first time. We'll be actually tensing and then relaxing 16 different muscle groups throughout the body. Which is your dominant hand?
My right hand.
Okay, that's where we'll start. I'll have you start by making a fist, tensing the muscles, and then on cue, when I say now, you relax it all at once. Let it go all at once together, okay?
All right.
And then we'll progressively work up the arms, the other hand, the other arm, and move to the head and face area, dividing these into different areas, and then to the neck and to the back.
The therapist and client rehearse the tensing exercises, making sure that the client is able to successfully create tension in each of the 16 muscle groups. If the client has difficulty in creating tension in any of the groups, the therapist and client should agree upon an alternative tensing strategy.
This will pull the muscles around. You can even feel it pull around your ear, so that you pull those muscles together as you squint your eyes together.
Okay.
Now do it. That's right. Pull them tight and hard. Can you feel the tension around there?
Yeah.
Okay, now that's fine. Now that's the way we'll be relaxing the muscles in that part of the face, okay?
Care should be taken to provide a suitable environment for relaxation training, and anything that might distract the client should be eliminated. The room should be quiet, and the therapist should be able to dim the lights. The chair is also an important consideration, since it must provide the client with complete body support. The therapist should remind the client ahead of time to wear loose and comfortable clothing. Eyeglasses, watches, and jewelry should be removed before the session begins.
Okay, now, Steve, I'm going to ask you to focus your attention on your right hand, and by making a tight fist, tense the muscles in your right hand and lower arm now. Feel the tension. Notice where it pulls when you hold it tight. Now relax. That's right. Let it go all at once. And now continue to attend to the sensations of relaxation in your right hand and lower arm. And allow those muscles in your hand and your lower arm to relax more and more. Let them go. Enjoy the soothing, pleasant sensation of muscle relaxation in your right hand and right lower arm. And go on relaxing. And now, Steve, once again, I'm going to ask you to make a tight fist and tense the muscles in your right.
The client is instructed to tense the muscles.
Now.
And this tension is held for 5 to 7 seconds.
How it feels as you pull keep it tight. Now relax.
After giving the cue to relax, the therapist makes a series of suggestions which help the client to focus attention on the relaxation process.
All your attention.
This relaxation pattern is delivered for between 30 and 60 seconds.
In your right hand and lower arm. And go on relaxing. Focusing your attention on the feelings of deep relaxation. Allow those muscles to relax even more deeply, and go on relaxing. Attending to the sensations of relaxation.
During the initial stages of relaxation training, the tension and release cycle should be repeated twice for each muscle group. After relaxing the muscle groups in each of the arms, the therapist moves on to the facial region. Here the session continues with relaxation of the sixth muscle group.
And now, Steve, I'm going to ask you to once again, by squinting your eyes together and pulling your eyebrows together, tense the muscles in the mid area of your face now. Notice the tension, notice where the muscles pull and how they feel. Now relax. Very good. Again, allowing all the muscles in the mid area of your face to relax more and more. Go on relaxing, enjoying the pleasant, soothing sensation of muscle relaxation.
During the session, the therapist uses an intergroup comparison in asking the client for a signal of relaxation.
I'm going to ask next if the muscles around your eyes and nose feel as deeply relaxed as the muscles in your forehead across the top of your head. If so, signal by raising your small finger on your right hand. Fine. Now go on relaxing, continuing to focus on the pleasant, soothing sensations of muscle relaxation. And go on relaxing, allowing the muscles to relax.
After relaxing the muscles of the lower cheeks and jaw and those of the neck and throat, the session continues with relaxation of the ninth muscle group, the chest, shoulders, and upper back. Tensing this muscle group requires the client to hold his breath. Also, at this point, the therapist can introduce indirect suggestions about breathing into the pattern.
And now, Steve, I'm going to ask you to once again, by pulling your shoulders back as if to touch them together, and first taking a deep breath and holding it, tense the muscles in your chest, back, and shoulders now. Notice the tension, notice where it pulls, how it feels. Now relax. Very good. Assume your normal, comfortable rate of breathing. Allow yourself to relax more and more deeply. Focus on the feelings of relaxation throughout your chest and upper back and shoulders. Go on relaxing. Allow the muscles to relax even more. Focus on the sensation of muscle relaxation. Now, Steve, are the muscles in your chest and back and shoulder area as relaxed as the muscles in your neck? If so, signal me by raising your small finger on your right hand. Very good. And go on relaxing. Relax even more. Know the sensation of muscle relaxation.
The therapist's voice is an important consideration in relaxation training. Although he begins the session in a conversational tone, his voice progressively reduces in volume over the course of the session. In addition to speaking more softly, the pace of the therapist's speech decreases as the client's level of relaxation increases. Notice the quality of the therapist's voice as he concludes the relaxation sequence with the non-dominant foot
point your foot down, curl your toes under, and move your left foot slightly to the right. Now, notice the tension, notice the pull, feel it under the ball of the foot. Now relax. That's fine. Allowing the foot to once again become deeply relaxed. Go on relaxing, letting all the muscles in your left foot relax more and more, permitting all the muscles to become more and more relaxed. And now, Steve, we have relaxed the muscles throughout your body. We relaxed the muscles in your hands and lower arms. Continue to let those muscles relax more and more. We relax the muscles in your biceps. Allow those muscles to continue to relax. We relax the muscles in the face and neck. Allow those muscles to continue to relax even more and more deeply. We relax the muscles in your chest, your abdomen, in your upper legs, your lower legs, and in your feet. Allow all those muscles to continue to relax even more deeply. Enjoy the pleasant, soothing experience of deep muscle relaxation throughout your body. And go on relaxing. Now, Steve, do you experience any feelings of tension anywhere in any of the muscle groups? If you do, please signal me by raising the small finger on your right hand. Fine. Go on relaxing, enjoying the soothing sensation of deep muscle relaxation. If you are experiencing deep muscle relaxation throughout your body, please signal me by raising the small finger on your right hand. Fine. Continue to relax.
When the therapist is assured that there is no tension in any of the muscles, he should allow the client a minute or two to enjoy the state of complete relaxation.
Now, Steve, I'm going to count from 4 to 1 backwards. On the count of 4, I will ask you to move your feet and legs. On the count of 3, your hands and arms. On the count of 2, your head and neck. And the count of 1, I want you to open your eyes, but remaining feeling calm and relaxed, and just as if you'd had a brief nap. Okay? 4, move your feet and legs. 3, your hands and arms. 2, your head and neck. And 1, open your eyes. How do you feel?
Warm and very, very relaxed. Good. I feel good.
That's fine. That's just what we hoped for. As we were going through the muscle relaxing exercises, did you find that any muscle group was harder to get relaxed than the others?
Perhaps in my neck area, it was a little more difficult.
The assessment of relaxation is a very important part of the procedure. Immediately following the session, the therapist should encourage the client to describe his or her feelings during relaxation, and also to describe any difficulties encountered in relaxing particular muscle groups. Also, the client's description of his or her feelings during the session should aid the therapist in developing the most effective pattern. It should be remembered that relaxation training is a flexible procedure and should be modified to accommodate each client's needs and preferences. Once assessment is complete, the therapist should assign home practice, encouraging the client to practice twice a day for 15 or 20 minutes each time. A progressive relaxation program involves several stages, beginning with tension and relaxation of muscle groups. Eventually, the client should be able to recognize tension and to release it merely by recalling the feelings previously associated with relaxation. The ultimate goal, then, is to achieve a rapid, efficient means of relaxation and to reduce or eliminate the need for therapeutic assistance. General tension is very common in our society, and all too often it is alleviated by resorting to the use of tranquilizers. However, there is growing interest on the part of both the professional community and their clients in eliminating tension without the use of drugs. To provide the client with a set of skills to enable him to deal with tension on a day-to-day basis. That is the function and the goal of progressive relaxation training.
That ran a little long, but I figured we all needed to relax a little bit. I think nowadays you don't even need a therapist like that to help you relax. You just have a recording of Peter Thomas reading the phone directory. Put most people out to where they start relaxing. Thanks everybody for tuning in today. There's some technical issues in telecine I need to work out a little bit with interlacing, but I appreciate you watching. Thank you, William and Jim, for the coffee. One way you can support AV Geeks is by buying us coffee. It will often help us figure out what day it is, because today is not the 3rd. Another way is to hit like, subscribe, click the little notification bell, comment, share with other people, all that stuff. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow. Now, I might be doing a more kind of remote thing. We'll see how that goes. We'll see what we're going to be doing. So everybody, have a great rest of your day. And as always, please rewind, love each other, take care of yourself, and I will see you soon.